So the question is, what did ancient peoples do with their stone blades and stone flakes and hand axes after they had butchered out a mammoth or a bison antiquus, some sort of megafauna? They did exactly as you would think. They cleaned them, they readdressed the edge, and put them away for future use. Having just returned back from the bison butchering class held this past weekend, one of the important things that I always do when addressing my stone tools is clean them and give them a good sharpening. As a matter of fact, many of the students, one of the things I stressed to them once we had created our stone tools was to always be readdressing your edge so they could remove the bison hide, cut through the membrane, cut through sinew, cut through muscle fibers. To have a sharp stone knife is essential. More importantly, knowing how to readdress its edge and then do the maintenance on that knife is even more important. Here is a handful of the blades we use. Lots of these bigger knives are some of the things that I made prior to going out. I wanted the students to be able to use these because to create these sort of tools does take a little time, does take a little practice. These raw flakes that are backed, as well as just regular discoidal flakes, were the primary cutting tools getting through the hide, as well as cutting through sinew, cutting through membrane, and really separating that bison into several different pieces. Treat them like I would any sort of knife. I wash them, give them a good rinsing, I readdress the edges, try to pull off some of the blood, membrane, and hair. And any of these guys that can be turned into a future projectile point will. These tools still have their overall profile and shape, but when we look closely at these edges, we can see there's little nicks, there's little chunks, there's this tiny small little imperfections. It's nice to get it exactly back into sort of fighting shape, if you will. Or if you need to employ this knife on the fly, it's ready to go. Clean a blade, it's not very difficult. A little bit of water. And I'm just looking to remove the big stuff, the big chunks of meat, any sort of the stuff that could rot, spoil, turn this blade into some sort of disease factory. When looking to put that new edge on there or addressing the edge, I'm simply taking a hand pad and a flaker and I'm resting my blade off the edge of my hand pad. I really want to avoid creating any sort of pressure where the hafting is, so I rest my blade off the edge of my pad, and when it's resting, I rotate, and all I'm doing is popping flakes down on one side. Once you craft a stone blade or stone knife, through its use, its shape, its profile is going to change. Some knives that start off one way, then over a couple years, a couple butcherings of animals, cutting fireboards, fiber, it just changes its shape entirely. If I got any major issues with it, now is the time to address it. Now keep in mind, when I'm addressing this edge, I'm not throwing long flakes. It's already thinned out. It's already at its kind of overall profile. I'm just looking to put a new edge on it so it's nice and sharp and ready to go for its next action. When everything is said and done, back into the sheath. When it comes to some of these stone flakes, I'm not going to really do much else with these. They are what they are, unless maybe I can turn it into some sort of future projectile point. Maybe this one. I like this one. These three right here might be some future projectile points. I kind of like the idea in my mind of taking a couple tools I've used to butcher something, turn it into a projectile point, and maybe use it for something else. All of these smaller kind of single hafted knives with lanyards or without, address the edge, use them for future butcherings. When you're using your tools, you're out in the bush, you're doing a butchering, cutting fireboards, processing fibers, you address your tools. You keep it sharp, you keep it ready to go. And that's the key. You're just addressing the edge. I'm not looking to throw long flakes across the blade. I'm just popping the edge, one side, flipping, popping the next. Just like that. Edges are sharp, blades are washed, tools are maintained, and you're ready to go for the next time.